Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Vintagecraft. What you are seeing right now, like right now in the video, is pre-recorded. And what you're listening to is post-lunch. I know, I haven't shown myself for quite a while, but post-lunch is back, and it feels good to be back. Just so you guys know, I just got back from vacation, and I'm currently in the middle of packing my room. I'm gonna move at the end of the month, so hooray. This is why post lunch is here. This is why this is pre-recorded. And today we are at the viewer's village. We're adding a new home. This home is going to be for a viewer that goes by the name of Roy_Babar, or Babar for short. He's a viewer that introduced me to a bustling community of Minecraft players that also play on early post-release versions, much like Vintagecraft. Babar also has a few Minecraft video series on early post-release versions of the game. I suggest you go over there and check them out and watch them. Great builder, as well as very clever redstone and clever ideas, very entertaining. And if you're also interested in joining a community of Minecraft players that like the quote-unquote Silver Age of Minecraft, you should join the subreddit at r/SilverAgeMinecraft. As you see, I picked my spot here and we're building. This is all freehand, so it might look a little wonky, but I think the end result, I was pretty happy with it, and I hope, Babar, since this is going to be your house, I hope you're happy with it too. I mainly made it out of resources that were around the village, so like spruce wood and stuff, but I also had a surplus of wool from my cave spider spawner, because I just got a lot of string and I was turning out to wool and I had so much, so I decided to use a lot of it for, it's going to be like one of the main parts of this house. And yeah, I'm going to be building it throughout this video in the backdrop. If you're the kind of viewer that likes to put videos in the background, feel free to do so, because it's just going to be some fast building and some talking. Okay, so story time. When I was a kid, my mother decided to put my siblings and I into swimming lessons, as any normal person would. I think everyone should be acquainted with water and how to deal with it, right? I think it's an important skill. For the most part, it was very informative, and I must say it definitely helped me learn to swim. I still do things that I learned there today, and it's like my basis, right? So it was good for the most part. But there was one lesson that just scarred me forever, and I don't think I've recuperated, but it was a lot. It was a normal lesson with swimming laps with different strokes and whatnot. And by the end of the lesson, the coach, we can call him Bob for this scenario. Yeah, Bob just called me over to the pool stairs and he was like, all right, for the last part of today's lesson, we're going to learn how to deal with holding our breath underwater. I was 6, and I was like, cool, I'd love to learn to just be underwater and stick around and not worry about it. Then Bob proceeds to just grab my tiny head. Mind you, I didn't say this, but Bob was jacked. This guy was ripped, everything. He was really strong, and he grabs my tiny 6-year-old head and just dunks me underwater and keeps me down there. And I was struggling, I was kicking, I was waiting with my arms, I was trying to hold on to the pool ladder and pull myself up, but Bob pinned me down, dude. He just had me down there. I literally just thought I was gonna die. It was crazy. And then Bob lets me go. I swim up as fast as I can to just catch my breath and just figure out what just happened. Bob gives me a second to catch my breath, looks down at me and says, "Great job." I never told my parents. I just thought it was normal. I was like, great. That was that was the learning how to hold your breath lesson. And I remember asking my brothers later on, like, yo, did Bob do this to you guys? Like, did you guys take the breathing lesson? They're like, no, dude. We just swam. It was great. And I have to sit here and, like, deal with the breathing lesson. So, yeah, that was my breathing lesson story. And on the same kind of note, here's another story where I felt my life was threatened as well. I don't know why I'm picking this dark theme. I see it more as funny, but real, you know what I mean? When I entered college, I used to work part-time at a Goodwill. I mainly worked there to get first dibs on things that were donated. I've loved thrifting since I was very young. Well, not very young. I would say high school. I was around like 14, 15. I started, and I just loved it because you would get to see all these things that I just would never have the chance of seeing, all these old technology and stuff. And I used to work where you would have to process it, right? At that time, I was very interested in vintage electronics, so I saw this as a way to go into that interest. And any old thing I would see, I would just look at it and try to see if it worked and figure it out, and it was just a lot of fun for me at the time. I think thrifting is something that everyone should do at least once, or just like looking at old specialty stores and whatnot. Everyone should at least do it once in their lives. You'll never know what you're gonna find. Anyways, on this specific day, I was taking out the trash near the end of my shift, and I decided to just chill. And outside in this area, it was the back of the store, there was a community bike path that ran parallel to the river, right? So I was sitting there, and then out of nowhere, this man comes out of the biking path, soaking wet. And at that moment, I was thinking, man, why is this guy wet? Like, what's going on? And later, I came to realize that he just probably fell while he was in his drug-induced whatever. He just fell into the creek and just got soaking wet. I was in a place where Goodwill leaves bins outside when they can't store them inside. So it's bins of like clothes and donations and whatnot. He started walking towards those bins and began to sift through the bins. I was very young at this time, and I was a little bit of a rat and a narc. So I told him, "Hey man, you shouldn't be doing that." And no response. He just continued doing like I didn't say anything. And I go again, "Hey man, you shouldn't be doing that." But then I say, "Someone might call the police." And the second I said the word police came out of my mouth, his head immediately snapped to me, and he was like, "Police?" And he walked up to me and just held onto my shirt. I was a bit of a wuss, and I didn't want to initiate something. I didn't know if he had a weapon or anything like that. I was just freaked out. I was scared. And so we're standing there, and he's holding on to me. So I just start walking slowly to the front of the store, and I'm one step in front of the other. He's behind me. He's like tight behind me, holding onto my shirt. And once I get to the front of the store, the doors open, and he just starts running inside, down the aisles, screaming obscenities. I'm not going to tell you what he was screaming because I'd probably get striked or something. It was just, he was yelling. And mind you, he was still soaking wet, so he was leaving wet footprints everywhere. My manager was right there at the front of the store by the cashiers, and she was looking at me like, "What the hell's going on, dude?" And I was like, "You tell me, man." I left learning that I should never say the word police and that I shouldn't do drugs. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying the story so far, but let's cut back into what we're looking at here. This is basically how I finished the house. I started adding the windows and stuff, but the overall shape is basically what you're looking at right now. I really like the curved house with the logs. I don't think I went with this final framing of the windows, but I like how I used the wool and the wood to create like an outline to show the supports and whatnot. And I like the wool. I see it as like one of those old German houses with like the white plaster on them and whatnot. It's like an old house in a snowy area, right? And I try to make every house unique, so that's going to be the unique feature is the little triangle at the front, triangle entrance, and the wool plaster walls. Hope you enjoyed the little creeper clip there. The house is now basically done. I just got my glass here, and I'm going to start putting the windows in. And while we finish the episode here, I want to tell you about what's been happening with the channel lately. As you may have seen, I've been uploading a bunch of different games and a bunch of different various content. And the reason why I'm doing it is because sometimes I feel very burnt out, and playing the same thing for a long period of time is very hard to keep up with. Just know that I make videos on games that I truly enjoy playing, and my goal is to allow the viewers like you to enjoy the games through my lens, right? Here's the home for Babar, Roy Babar. I'll make sure to put his channel on the description below. And there's a little house. Look at it. So pretty. There's a little balcony there, looks into the frozen river. And you get a main view of the church. So thank you guys so much for enjoying and appreciating. We are officially back, and I can't wait to catch you all on the next episode. Goodbye.